Hey there! I hope you're doing well wherever you are watching this. This is going to be my third field observation self-reflection. Sorry if I sound a little off. I'm recording this being quite ill. Uh, so sorry if I seem maybe a little unfocused or maybe my voice sounds off. But we're going to get straight into it. So, the focus of this uh, observation I was focusing on the physical environment of the classroom I was in. Oh, important to note, I was observing Miss Ratsky and her grade 4 English class. Um, so I've drawn up a little layout of what her class looks like. You can see that okay? Um, I personally am a really big fan of her classroom. I'm just gonna break it down for you real quick. So you've got the door up in this corner. Right next to it is the prayer center, which they have in all of the classrooms because it's a Catholic school. So when they do morning prayer, stuff like that, all the kids are expected to stand up and they have to look at it while they do morning prayer. Then just beside that, there are some floor level seating so kids can sit on these little rocking chairs that are like a foot off the ground. They're really low. And they are right there in front of the carpet, which has some more of those floor level seating. The carpet I did feel was a little small, all things considered, for the classroom, especially for how many kids there were. Found that oftentimes when we had to go to the carpet, a lot of the kids were kind of really squished. So I don't know if that's just an oversight or if she's just, overpacked classroom, whatever the case. Then you've got the whiteboard right in front of the carpet. Pretty classic placement. You see that in pretty much all classrooms. Then beside that, there was, she called it the info board. So this had all kinds of stuff that she would have the students change on a regular basis. So this had the schedule, it had the weather for the day, it had the date, it had the moon cycle, all those kind of things. It had any birthdays for the kids on there. And pretty much at the beginning of every day, she would have a kid or multiple kids go up and they would change the information to fit what was going on that day, which I personally am a big fan of. I think that's great. Uh, especially as long as she's rotating the kids out, not having the same one do it over and over, of course. Then, just beside that, next to the carpet, we have a desk. These were all large desks. Um, Instead of multiple small desks grouped together, they were all large single desks with chairs, spread around them. Excuse me. Then below here, in this kind of back corner, there is the teacher help table, which is pretty much if a kid is particularly struggling with a topic or if they're having a kind of a disruptive day, Miss Ratsky would ask them to come back and sit at this table with her so that they're not disturbing the class. She can keep an eye on them, she can give them some help, all that kind of stuff. Then, just beside that, on the wall, was some student artwork things like that. So there was, some drawings from her students. I was like, I love you, Miss Ratsky, blah, blah, blah. I love grade 4. I like this, I like that. Some stuff that she had saved from Christmas, a few things that she had saved from Valentine's Day, stuff like that. I think there was also a Halloween thing on there. And I love that. I think that's great for a classroom to kind of have that appreciation center for what the students are making. So I really liked that, and it was absolutely chocked full. So the kids are excellent artists already. Then just beside that, you have Miss Ratsky's desk, which was pretty sizable. The whole thing was chock full of largely there was a corner dedicated to her computer, but then the rest of it was all classroom supplies that the kids could use. So she had a whole area for extra markers, extra pencils, pencil crayons, erasers, sharpeners, all this stuff. And that was the large majority of her desk was dedicated to student resources instead of space for her to do her work, which I don't know how I feel about that. On the one hand, it's good, but I also feel like it could be put somewhere else in the room, and it would be more effective than, taking up the teacher's space, because I feel like it is kind of important to have lots of space yourself. Um, then there's this little area that was you had there's a window here, and you could look out onto the kind of area below. Then there was a large shelf. This side here was all storage for other larger school supplies. And then this here along this wall was a bookshelf. And pretty much during silent reading time, all the kids would go along and they would pick out a book from there, and then they go to their desk. Great selection, lots of stuff in there. All in all, I really enjoy her classroom setup. Granted, I'm not super familiar with many other classroom setups, but this one in particular, it feels like it applies to some good UDL kind of ideas. It's open. There's pretty much anywhere that you would need in the classroom. It's here. It's organized. It's pretty intuitive, so kids, can move around here pretty easily without confusion. Other than that, there was a seating arrangement as well for the students, but it wasn't super heavily enforced. Uh, like if they're doing silent reading, that's a no-brainer. They have to be in their seat. Uh, but if we're doing an assignment or during lunchtime or snack time, kids were allowed to get up, walk to another seat, walk to another table, sit on the carpet, sit on the floor level seating, or not. It was pretty much mostly up to them, which I do enjoy. I get it, of course, a seating arrangement has its time and its place, and it's very important, but I do feel like letting the kids move with a bit more freedom is very healthy for just kind of their understanding of what they're allowed to do in a classroom, and I think it really um, promotes sort of more freedom and comfort in the classroom. Uh, Other than that, I really enjoy the classroom setup, uh, and it made it really easy to kind of help facilitate the learning process for the kids, because they all knew where they were. There were large, gaps in between the desks and stuff. I didn't do a great job drawing it there, but there's lots of large gaps in between the desks so that multiple kids can move through at the same time. So, if she says everyone come to the carpet, they're not, in a traffic jam trying to all rush to the carpet at the same time. If she tells them to all go back to their desks, then, they can do it in a pretty orderly fashion. I would say this was a fantastic layout. I rated a solid. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And I'm gonna say that's gonna be my breakdown of the physical environment for my classroom observation. Thank you so much for watching.